A viewer recently sent us a very special letter. This letter left us in shock, as it revealed hidden truths that few could have ever imagined. It is the story of Isabella Simmons, a nurse from Los Angeles, who underwent a miraculous near-death experience after a severe brain injury. In the moments when her heart stopped, Isabella was transported into a supernatural vision where she encountered Jesus. It was here that he revealed to her the fall of Lucifer, the most beautiful and powerful angel, who was corrupted by pride. Jesus explained not only the betrayal of Lucifer, but how it led to war in heaven and the spread of darkness, causing suffering and sin in the human world. However, he also emphasized the importance of free will, teaching that while freedom brings pain, it is through this very freedom that true love can emerge and thrive. Isabella was shown that every act of love, humility, and obedience has the power to push back the darkness, reconnect humanity with God, and bring light into the world. The vision ended with a profound lesson. Every choice we make is important. Life on earth is a crucible, a place where we are refined through love, becoming more like Christ. In the end, love will triumph, not through violence, but through the free choices of humanity to embrace the light and reject the darkness. This story is not just a supernatural journey, but a call to reflect on the meaning of freedom, love, and the choices we make in our own lives. But before we dive in, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. By subscribing, you'll be the first to know when new videos like this are posted. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future reflections that could guide you in your walk with Christ. Let's get started. But before we dive in, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. By subscribing, you'll be the first to know when new videos like this are posted. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future reflections that could guide you in your walk with Christ. Let's get started. A few months ago, I experienced something that completely reshaped how I understand the spiritual world and the nature of good and evil. My name is Isabella Simmons, and I'm a 38-year-old trauma nurse working in the fast-paced emergency room of a hospital in Los Angeles. I've been married to my husband David for 10 years, and we're raising our 6-year-old daughter Maya. Life has always been busy, challenging, and rewarding, but nothing could have prepared me for what happened one ordinary Friday night during my night shift. The night began like many others, with the ER bustling as usual. There had been a multi-car accident on the freeway, and the injured were arriving in waves. As I was tending to a critically injured patient, another ambulance pulled in with a new arrival. In my rush to assist, I slipped on a pool of blood on the floor and fell backward, hitting my head hard on the corner of a metal supply cart. The pain was excruciating, and the last thing I remembered was the concerned faces of my coworkers as I faded into unconsciousness. I later learned that I had suffered a severe traumatic brain injury, causing dangerous swelling in my brain. Emergency surgery was performed immediately, but during the procedure, my heart stopped for several minutes. During those moments, when my body was lifeless, I experienced something extraordinary, something beyond words. It wasn't just a near-death experience. It was a profound journey into the spiritual realm that left me forever changed. The first thing I felt was an overwhelming sense of peace. The pain and chaos of the emergency room vanished, replaced by a serene stillness. I felt as if I was floating, weightless and free, in a place that radiated unimaginable beauty and light. The light was brighter than the sun, but gentle and warm, not harsh or blinding. It wrapped around me like a comforting embrace, and I felt an indescribable joy. As I marveled at the beauty around me, a figure appeared, walking toward me. As the figure came closer, I realized it was Jesus. I know how incredible that sounds, but in that moment, I had no doubt who he was. His presence was unlike anything I had ever encountered, overflowing with love, wisdom, and peace. He greeted me by name, saying, "You've arrived earlier than expected, Isabella, but there's something important I need to show you before you return." I was stunned and speechless, but I managed to ask, "Am I not staying?" Jesus smiled gently and replied, "Not yet, Isabella. Your work on earth isn't done. But what I'm about to show you will help you understand the true nature of the battle you are part of." Suddenly, the scene around us transformed. I found myself in what I can only describe as heaven, a place so glorious that words fail to capture its beauty. It was filled with radiant light, and the air seemed to vibrate with music so pure and joyful that it felt like the sound of love itself. Angels sang in perfect harmony, their voices blending into a symphony that filled every corner of this magnificent place. Jesus pointed out one angel in particular. It stood out from the others, more radiant and beautiful than any being I had ever seen. Its light was dazzling, and its voice led the choir with unmatched majesty. Jesus said, "This is Lucifer, as he once was. Watch carefully, for few have seen what I'm about to show you." Lucifer was magnificent, beyond what I could have imagined. His beauty was otherworldly, his wings shimmering with every color of the spectrum, and his form adorned with what looked like precious gems, emeralds, rubies, and diamonds. He exuded charisma, drawing others to him effortlessly. Jesus explained that Lucifer had once been the highest of all angels, the guardian of God's throne, and the leader of heavenly worship. He was the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and flawless beauty. But as I watched, I saw the subtle beginnings of his fall. Lucifer began to admire his reflection in the golden streets of heaven, staring at himself with growing fascination. Jesus said, "This is the birth of pride." He forgot that his beauty and talents were gifts from God. I could see the shift in his heart as he started comparing himself to others, thinking, "Why should I bow to anyone? I am the most beautiful, the most talented. I should be worshipped." This pride began to consume him, changing his thoughts and actions. He no longer sang to glorify God, but to draw attention to himself. He made his movements more elaborate, his songs more intricate, as if performing for an audience. He whispered to other angels, sowing seeds of doubt. "Why should we serve? Aren't we powerful and beautiful? Shouldn't we be gods ourselves?" Jesus showed me how Lucifer's pride and rebellion spread among the angels. About a third of them were swayed by his arguments, drawn to his vision of equality with God. But this rebellion brought unimaginable pain to heaven. I saw God reaching out to Lucifer repeatedly, offering him chances to repent. Each time, Lucifer's pride prevented him from turning back. He gathered his followers and declared, "I will ascend above the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High." At that moment, the light within Lucifer began to fade, replaced by darkness. Michael, another archangel, appeared with a host of loyal angels, and war erupted in heaven. Streams of light clashed with encroaching darkness, a battle beyond anything I could have conceived. Lucifer and his followers were defeated, their forms twisted and corrupted as they fought against God's will. In a brilliant flash, they were cast out of heaven, falling like stars from the sky. As Jesus shared with me the story of Lucifer's rebellion, his words were filled with both sorrow and profound love. He explained that God's heart broke when Lucifer, one of his most glorious creations, turned away from him. Yet God did not revoke the gift of free will, even though it brought so much pain. Our Father knew the price of giving free will to his creation, Jesus said gently. He knew it would lead to rebellion, suffering, and even the death of his Son. But he also knew that the love born out of free choice would be worth it all. It was a truth that struck me deeply. Love, to be real, must be freely given. God could have created beings who were programmed to worship him, who had no choice but to obey. But that would not be love. It would be control. Instead, he gave his creations the ability to choose, knowing full well the consequences of that gift. Jesus revealed that God's plan wasn't simply about defeating evil. The purpose was far greater. His ultimate goal was to transform creation itself, to bring about something more beautiful and enduring than it had been before. Evil was not part of God's original design, but he allowed it to exist temporarily so that his greater purpose could be fulfilled. Humans, Jesus explained, play a unique role in this plan. Unlike angels, we live in a world touched by sin and brokenness. Every day, we are confronted with the reality of evil. But it is through these struggles, through choosing love in the face of temptation and faith in the face of doubt, that we become something extraordinary. Our struggles refine us, Jesus said, shaping us into the image of Christ. When you face evil and choose love, you are participating in something that even the angels cannot fully understand. I saw clearly how our challenges are not meaningless. They serve a divine purpose, acting as a crucible that purifies and strengthens us. Every hardship, every trial, and every temptation is an opportunity to grow closer to God and reflect his love more deeply. Jesus showed me that this process of refinement is essential to God's plan. Through our choices, we learn to rely on him, to trust his goodness, and to embody his love. Our lives become a testimony to the power of grace, a demonstration of how God can take brokenness and turn it into beauty. Even the angels, Jesus explained, marvel at this transformation. They were created in perfection and have not faced the struggles we endure. For humans, every victory over sin, every act of selfless love, and every step of faith is a profound display of God's power working through us. As Jesus spoke, I realized that God's plan for humanity is not just about overcoming evil. It's about becoming more like Christ. Through our choices and our faith, we are being shaped into his likeness. This transformation is not simply for our benefit, but for the glory of God, who redeems and restores all things. In the end, the struggles we face are not just battles to be fought, but opportunities to grow in love, humility, and faith. They are moments where we can reflect God's character and participate in his grand plan to bring redemption to all of creation. God's willingness to endure the pain of free will, including the death of his Son, is a testament to the depth of his love for us. It is a love that values relationship over control, freedom over coercion, and redemption over condemnation. Jesus' words left me in awe of the beauty and complexity of God's plan. Despite the pain and suffering caused by sin, He is working to create something far greater than we can imagine. Through our choices to face evil with love, we become active participants in His transformative work, a role that even the angels look upon with wonder. In every struggle, I now see an invitation to grow closer to God and reflect His love more clearly. And I understand, more than ever, that the love born out of free will is truly worth it all. A call to humility and love. As the vision came to a close, Jesus left me with a lesson that resonated deeply in my heart. Pride, He said, is the root of all sin. It twists love outward, turning it into love of self. But humility and love are the antidotes. True humility isn't about thinking less of yourself. It's about recognizing your dependence on God and your connection to others. His words were simple yet profound, revealing a truth that has transformed my understanding of faith and life. Pride, as I saw in Lucifer's fall, is the starting point of every rebellion against God. It blinds us, making us believe we can rely solely on our own strength, intelligence, or abilities. It isolates us, pulling us away from God and the people around us. But humility breaks that cycle. It reminds us that we are part of something much greater, dependent on God's grace and deeply interconnected with others. Humility doesn't diminish our worth. It enhances it by aligning us with God's purpose and the love He designed us to share. This experience has completely reshaped the way I view my life and faith. I now see that every choice we make, no matter how small, and every challenge we face are opportunities to grow in love and become more like Christ. Life on earth isn't just about achieving success or avoiding hardship. It's a crucible, a place where we are refined, shaped, and prepared for the eternal purpose God has for us. I understand now that struggles are not meaningless. They are tools God uses to draw us closer to Him. When we respond to life's difficulties with humility and love, we strengthen our connection to God and reflect His light to those around us. Each moment becomes a chance to choose selflessness over pride, gratitude over entitlement, and faith over fear. What struck me most is how the battle between good and evil isn't just a cosmic war being fought in some distant realm. It's a daily struggle, fought in the choices we make, the thoughts we entertain, and the way we treat others. Jesus showed me that this battle requires three things: humility, love, and complete dependence on God. Humility guards our hearts against pride, keeping us grounded in our reliance on God. Love shifts our focus away from ourselves and toward serving others. And dependence on God reminds us that we cannot fight this battle alone. Through this experience, I've come to see that every act of kindness, every moment of forgiveness, and every prayer for guidance is part of this greater spiritual fight. We are not passive observers, but active participants in God's plan, called to shine His light in a world that often feels dark. Now, I see clearly. Life is not a random series of events, but a purposeful journey, where every choice matters. The battle isn't won through grand gestures or moments of perfection, but through daily faithfulness. Choosing humility, love, and dependence on God in every situation. This vision has given me a renewed sense of purpose. It's not about being perfect, but about being willing. Willing to let God work through me, willing to admit when I fall short, and willing to keep growing in His love. In the end, it's not the size of the battles we face, but the faith we bring to them that makes all the difference. With this understanding, I move forward with hope, knowing that as long as I rely on God, I am part of His greater plan, a plan where love will ultimately triumph over all. Jesus showed me a profound truth that has forever changed how I view the spiritual world. Small acts of love have an extraordinary power. They not only strengthen our relationship with God, but also push back the darkness trying to infiltrate our lives. In His infinite wisdom, He revealed how every choice we make can either align us with God's love or open the door to selfishness and pride, the very tools Satan uses against us. After showing me these things, Jesus told me it was time to return. His words were gentle but firm. Remember what you have seen and share it with others. Help them understand the reality of the spiritual world and how vital it is to avoid pride. As He placed His hand on my forehead, an overwhelming wave of love and peace washed over me, unlike anything I had ever experienced. The next moment, I was back in my body, gasping for air as the surgical team worked frantically to save me. Before this experience, I considered myself a Christian, but my faith had been more of a routine than a deep, living reality. Now, it feels alive, an integral part of who I am. I've come to understand that every thought, every choice, every action is connected to a larger spiritual reality. One of the most humbling lessons I learned was how pride can subtly creep into our lives. Whenever I catch myself thinking I'm better than others or deserving of special treatment, I remember what Jesus showed me about Lucifer's fall. Even the most perfect angel was corrupted by pride, turning his gifts and beauty into tools of rebellion. That understanding has made me more vigilant, not just in resisting pride, but in actively choosing humility and love. Now, I focus on fostering the connections of love I saw in my vision, reaching out to others with kindness, praying for those in need, and being a source of encouragement. These acts of love, though small, are like strands of light, weaving us closer to God and to each other. Seeing Lucifer's fall gave me a deeper understanding of how Satan operates in our lives. Just as he sowed doubt and dissatisfaction among the angels, he uses similar tactics on earth. Satan doesn't always appear as a villain. Sometimes he disguises his lies as something good, reasonable, or even appealing. He is patient and cunning, working slowly to plant seeds of pride, fear, and temptation. I saw how his angelic beauty was consumed by darkness as he embraced rebellion, transforming him into a terrifying creature, Satan, the deceiver, and the enemy of truth. Jesus explained, "You've seen the great dragon, that ancient serpent called the devil, who deceives the world. He was thrown down because of his choice to reject love and embrace pride." Jesus wanted me to understand the true nature of evil. Satan was not created evil. He chose his path, using the free will God gave him. This is why faith, humility, and love are so essential. They guard our hearts against making the same mistake. Jesus led me to the edge of heaven, where I could see the earth below. What I witnessed was both heartbreaking and enlightening. Thin, dark tendrils spread across the world, reaching out to people in subtle ways. Whispered doubts, small temptations, and creeping fears. These are the enemy's works, Jesus explained. Temptation, doubt, and fear are tools to keep people from God and from each other. But then, he showed me something beautiful. strands of light connecting people to heaven and to one another. These are the connections of love, he said. Every act of kindness, every prayer, every moment of worship strengthens these bonds and pushes back the darkness. The vision revealed how spiritual warfare isn't always about grand cosmic battles. It happens in the small, everyday choices we make to align ourselves with God's love or to give in to selfishness and pride. Jesus showed me that humility is the key to resisting pride, the root of all sin. True humility isn't about thinking less of ourselves, but recognizing our dependence on God and our interconnectedness with others. It's about gratitude for what we have rather than anger over what we lack. Love, on the other hand, is our greatest weapon against darkness. When we choose to love, whether by helping someone in need, forgiving those who hurt us, or simply being kind, we strengthen the strands of light that connect us to God and to each other. These acts of love are impenetrable by the darkness, forming a protective barrier against Satan's lies. Prayer, too, is vital, not just as a way to ask for help, but as a means to align our will with God's and deepen our relationship with Him. Lessons from the loyal angels. The faithful angels in heaven served as powerful examples of humility and selfless love. While Lucifer and his followers became consumed with themselves, the loyal angels remained focused on their true purpose, serving God and each other with gratitude and joy. When Lucifer tempted them with promises of power and knowledge, they responded with contentment and gratitude for the gifts they already had. Their selfless love shielded them from Lucifer's manipulative tactics, and their unwavering focus on God kept them strong. Jesus showed me how these angels continue to work in our world as messengers and protectors, often in ways we cannot see. They strengthen the connections of light, helping us grow spiritually and standing with us in times of trial. In my vision, I saw how Lucifer's rebellion sent ripples through all creation, bringing death, decay, and suffering into a world that once knew only life and growth. Natural disasters, violence, and pain are the lingering consequences of that rebellion. Yet even in the midst of this darkness, there is profound hope. Jesus showed me how creation itself longs for redemption, groaning for the day it will be restored. Every act of love and obedience we choose pushes back the darkness, not just in our hearts, but in the world around us. Love is more than a virtue. It is a force that aligns us with God's plan to renew all things. He also reminded me that Satan, though powerful, is still a created being. He is not God's equal and cannot force anyone to sin. His greatest weapon is deception, twisting truth to make evil appear good and good appear evil. But we always have a choice, and through God's strength, we can resist his lies. Though the ripple effects of rebellion have brought pain, the ripple effects of love and obedience are even greater. Each choice for love, humility, and grace brings us closer to the day when creation will be fully restored, a victory already secured through Christ. The final victory of love. Jesus gave me a glimpse of the future, showing that its outcome rests in humanity's hands. The choices we make, individually and collectively, will determine the path ahead. It could be one of chaos, pain, and division, or one of peace, restoration, and unity. But through it all, one truth remains constant. Love will ultimately triumph. When Christ returns, the spiritual realm will be unveiled, revealing the true nature of all things. This moment won't be a trial as we imagine it, but rather a profound unveiling of who we've become through our choices. Those who chose love, humility, and selflessness will be drawn to his light like moths to a flame, while those consumed by self-centeredness and pride will find his radiance unbearable. Jesus explained, "Judgment is not an imposed sentence, but the natural result of your life. It is the culmination of the choices you have made to either embrace love or reject it. Love will win, not through force, but through the free will of those who truly understand its power." The future is not fixed. It is shaped by the decisions we make every day. Every act of love, kindness, and forgiveness, no matter how small, brings us closer to the day when all things will be made new. And no matter how dark or uncertain the path may seem, we have the assurance that the light of Christ will shine through, guiding us toward the ultimate victory of love. It is a hope that invites us to live with purpose, knowing that every choice for good helps weave a brighter future for all creation. Call to action. Jesus' final lesson was this: love is the most powerful force in the universe. Pride led to Lucifer's fall, but love is what raises us up. Every small act of love, every choice for humility, and every moment of kindness adds to the tapestry of light that connects creation to God. We don't have to do grand things to make a difference. By choosing love in our everyday lives, we become part of God's plan to overcome darkness. And no matter how bleak things may seem, love will win, not by force, but through the free choices of those who understand its supreme value. This vision has forever changed me. I now see every moment, every choice, as an opportunity to weave strands of light into the world and draw closer to the God who is love itself. Heavenly Father, I come before you today, humbled by your mercy and overwhelmed by your love. Thank you for the gift of free will, for the opportunity to choose you, and for the grace that sustains me when I falter. Lord, help me to walk in humility, recognizing my complete dependence on you and my connection to those around me. Guard my heart against pride and selfishness, and fill it with your love that seeks to serve and uplift others. Teach me to see each challenge as a chance to grow closer to you, each moment of struggle as a way to reflect your light, and each choice as an opportunity to align myself with your purpose. Strengthen my faith so I may stand firm in your truth and never lose sight of the hope you have placed within me. May your Spirit guide me daily, shaping me into the person you have called me to be. Let my life be a testament to your grace and a reflection of your boundless love. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support allows us to continue sharing these powerful stories and creating a space for open, heartfelt conversations. Click the notification bell so you're always updated when we post new content. Together, let's explore the unseen, celebrate the miraculous, and inspire one another to live with love, faith, and wonder.